What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Scott Kumler, and this is the podcast where we sit down with agents who are quietly and sometimes loudly dominating their markets by doing things differently. Today's guest is someone I've been excited to bring on for a long time. She's a multiple time icon agent, a leader in her market, and one of the best relationships based agents I've ever met. I'm talking about Donica Parker. Here's the thing about Donica: she didn't scale her business with ads, cold calling, or buying leads. She's built a thriving real estate business year after year by creating meaningful relationships with past clients and her sphere. And she uses social media, Facebook, Instagram, and everything in between, not as a highlight reel, but as a connection tool. In this episode, Donica breaks down how she nurtures her sphere without sounding salesy, her systems for staying top of mind 365 days a year, what she posts on social that actually converts, and how those conversations turn to repeat clients and referrals consistently. If you're an agent who wants to grow your business through authenticity, connection, and community, not pressure, this episode is going to shift the way you think. And hey, if this conversation inspires you or you're curious what a partnership with me looks like, feel free to call or text me at 623-387-2688 or grab a Zoom slot with my calendar link below. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more interviews with top producing agents like Donica. All right, let's jump in. What's up, guys? I'm here with Donica Parker out of Georgia. She's an amazing agent that gets most of her business off of Sphere and referrals. Donica, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Scott. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, before we kind of get into some of the tactical stuff, and kind of what you're doing to get business into today's real estate market, one of the things I always like to discuss and find a little more about you as far as like what got you into real estate, what you did before real estate, and kind of your journey into real estate, and what got you into it. So, if you kind of want to take everyone through that's listening, what you did before you got into real estate.
So I didn't really do much before real estate because I got into real estate in my very early 20s, and I was really fresh out of college. So I hadn't really had like a real permanent job until I came to the US. I'm an immigrant from Bulgaria, Eastern Europe, and I got a job as an assistant to a builder. I was working in his office, and I think I was about a year in. And they just kept saying, why don't you get your real estate license? And I had no idea what it was again, because I knew the language because that was my major in college. I majored in English, but I had no idea about the culture. And and they told me, hey, it's just what do I have to do? Just, get through a course, get through an exam. Everybody was trying to scare me how difficult the exam is, which is the truth. Yeah, it's quite tricky. But I was fresh out of college. Hey, it's I was so used to it. So I got my I got through the course, the exam, got my license, and I started working with one of the builder's agents at that time who was selling his subdivisions. And that's how it was. Again, it wasn't by design. I had no idea what I was getting into, right? You just know that, hey, you sell houses, but how do you sell your houses? How do you get clients, right? But yeah, that's how it was. I learned things very quickly because I was on a team. I was selling new construction. I was selling resale, some land as well. I was taking pictures at that time. They just handed me a camera and said, "Okay, go. We got a new listing. Go take pictures." And I was doing a lot of things at that time. It was very interesting and very dynamic. So, I stayed. I stayed in.
So the team that you worked for then worked for the builder, or was it like a team outside the builder that you worked?
So it was an independent team. They were just hired to sell. He was doing condo conversions at that time. They were very popular back in 2006, 7, and they were working with him to sell his subdivisions, but they also had their own business, right? So it was just an independent team. And I got there really a year and a half before the market crash in of 2008, and it was quite a challenge because you've got a lot of business. You learn how to work in the business, but you don't learn how to get clients. And that was my biggest challenge when the crash came and the team fell apart. It was very hard, so I had to really see, okay, I'm a new immigrant here. I don't know, I don't have much sphere. What do I do? So I had to take a part-time job. I graduated, my major was English, so I was teaching English in the evening from 6 to 10 p.m. Poor students, I'm thinking, having to learn English in the evening after a whole day of work.
Mhm.
But that's what I was doing. And then, in the daytime, I was just, trying to see what I'm going to do to actually continue in that career, because I already saw that there was a lot of potential, and it was limitless if you had clients, if you put the work into it. So gradually, I did try cold calling, right? The team made me cold call, right? So I had to do it, and but I didn't want to do that. Maybe I didn't learn, how to do it properly, right? And but anyway, I went into another direction. I thought that if I get more people to know me, like me, and trust me, then at one point they'll do business with me. So it wasn't like this really fast up and coming, that this explosion of business, but really I just kept building and building, very, very intentionally and strategically. And then at one point, everybody wanted to do business with me. And I was thinking, what's wrong with you people? What's happening here? All of a sudden everybody starts and wants to do business with you. So that's how it happened. Basically, working on my sphere, trying to get more people to know me, like me, and trust me. And then how do you stay in touch with those people, or how do you stay top of mind so that they can refer you and don't forget about you, and even make some people like your biggest fans, which is, I think, the hardest part, just to make people so impressed by you that they would actually want other people to use you, and keep referring you and referring you. So
Yeah, yeah. There's two big things. I love what you said there. First, you mentioned that you don't like cold calling, and I think that what's important for a lot of agents to understand is that there's a lot of lead sources out there, but what's really important to really focus in on is master the one or two lead sources that fits your style that you're going to want to do. I've always told people the same thing. Like, I hate cold calling as well too. I'm a huge introvert. Like, so if someone told me I had to do that when I first got into real estate, I probably would have failed out of this business pretty quick, because I just didn't enjoy doing it. Now, cold calling is a great way to get business, but if you're not going to be consistent with it, it doesn't really matter anyways. And then the other thing I thought that was extremely important too is you talked about, especially when you talked about your social and like your sphere and stuff like that, it wasn't like an instant boom. Just because people know you doesn't mean that they're interested in buying a house right now. And so there are some lead sources out there that definitely take time, but if you're consistent with it over time, I'm sure there's like YouTube, the more time, it might take a year in order to start kind of getting that business. And so there are lead sources out there where you can start getting business right away. But when it comes to some of these lead sources like social media or sphere business, it does take time to kind of build that up. So, take me through. So, you obviously were teaching English. How long did you teach English for before you decided to get back into real estate full time?
I think it was probably 3 or 4 years, and but again, it was at a convenient time, and it was something that I knew, and yes, that's how you know it was. It was a good. It was a good backup plan. The thing is that the good thing is that real estate was never a side hustle for me, because I know sometimes people have that mentality. They get licensed just because it's so easy to get licensed, and all of a sudden they're dealing with millions of dollars of other people's money, and
Mhm.
that's their side hustle. So for me, it was never a side hustle. I dreamed of the moment when I would be able to, okay, not have any more distractions, not have any more jobs that would, take my time away or my mind away from real estate, and really focus on real estate. And of course, I enjoy teaching. I enjoy being with people, but it's very repetitive. And at one point, honestly, I got tired of laughing at my own jokes, laughing at the same joke. I mean, that I would tell every 5 weeks. It's the same course, the same. And one of the things is that regardless of how hard you try, you've got such a ceiling, especially with that I said, hey, I've gotta think of other ways too, where I could still serve people, but at the same time it's rewarding as well, and you could really grow and have a lot of potential for growth.
Nice, nice. And one thing I wanted to, so you obviously got a lot of your business from your sphere, from people you know, from past clients, and I think, in my personal opinion, that's one of the most neglected lead sources out there by real estate agents. A lot of times, what will happen is real estate agents will close a transaction, they kind of wipe their hands and say, I'm done with it, But if you have the correct process in place, by about year three in the industry, about 50% of your business should be repeat referral business, but most agents don't look at it like that, and they typically lose track of their clients. Their clients forget who they are because most people have to realize, that most of their clients are forget who they are within a few years. So, obviously, you've built up such a huge, a following and a huge business from your sphere and from repeat business and from referrals. So, kind of take me through what are some key strategies that you use to keep top of mind with your past clients and with people that you know.
So, yeah, very important. As you mentioned, people don't care about, they get on with their lives. Like you close them, sell a house, buy a house, you help them close on a house, and they keep on with their lives. But you always remember them because you want that client to be a repeat client. So, luckily with social media, it's so easy to, one of my best strategies is really to know what's happening in people's lives. And I love a lot of my people, my Bulgarian people are on Facebook, and I use both Facebook and Instagram. That helps me stay in front of people through stories, a lot of it through stories, because the other day I had 300 or 400 views on a story, right? When would I have that on a post? I'm not going to have that on a post. I don't have like huge following in when you see the numbers, right? But I do a lot of stories. I share my personal life, a lot things that you can do around Atlanta. I always want somebody to get something from what I post. Is it entertainment? Is it a new spot where they can get ice cream, fine dining, some nice spots, some trail that they can walk, something like that. Sometimes it's motivational. I'm a huge triathlons are my passion, running triathlons, Ironmans. So I share that a lot. And a lot of times people actually, people follow you, they get inspired or they admire you for something that's generally perceived hard to do, which is not. You just have a reason to do it, right? And but that keeps people, they project what they see onto your professional, how you are in your business as well. So if you're dedicated in some personal aspect, some passion, some hobby, especially when it has to do with sports and something that you achieve, right? Then they project that through your personal, through your professional performance as well. And that's how people give you business, because now they can trust you. And of course, I always show, if I'm at a showing, if maybe some interesting house, maybe a closing, a happy client. So you always have to, people have to know that you're working, right? Like I can't be just posting my vacation pictures, So, people have to know you're still working. You're not just having fun because, then they may think you're not interested in real estate. But social media has been great. So what people see about me, and then the other thing is I really go and check individually what people are doing. I don't stop with my feed because my feed feeds me whatever, algorithms change all the time. But I go and personally check on people. Like, let me see what's happening, especially if I'm going to reach out via text message or a phone call to somebody. I really want to know what's happening in their lives, because sometimes, let's say somebody honestly gets separated from a spouse, and or they post something on social media, and all of a sudden you're calling them or you're texting them. You have no idea that they're going through a hard time. So you have to know how you're going to approach them. So I always check what my clients are doing, or what some friends are doing, what's happening in their lives, and I would do that before I call them or text them. At the same time, I would also comment on their posts, something meaningful, right? Congratulate them. People post about their pets, people post about their kids, and these are very important, people and animals in their lives. So you have to treat them as such as well. You congratulate them, compliment them on achievements. So I just want to be, I enjoy that, and I want to be personable. I want people to know that I care about them, that I see them, and again, something even as a hack, that when you interact with somebody and they reply back, now the algorithm knows you want to see more content from them, or they want to see more content from you. So now I'm paying attention to them, but then the algorithm also shows them what I'm doing, and that's what I want. I don't force anybody to work with me. You like me, you trust me, you call me when the time is right, but you also have to do this consistently. Because there are a ton of other agents, people have family, right? That is also in the business, and I want them to call me. But I have to prove to them that I'm worth their business. And that's what I try to do if I go, through social media and personal, again, text messages or just calls. I would go through, my list of people, and I would text or call, and then which could be probably like every 3 months, right? Like I don't want to be all over people, right? And I send a monthly newsletter every month. It has a video of me talking about the market, or something like Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Christmas, so I mean Merry Christmas, all that. And um, and then I used to do like a weekly newsletter for events, but then I saw some people unsubscribed, so I'm thinking, oh, maybe that was just too much. And maybe they don't have anything against, me personally, but maybe it was just too many emails. And I stopped that, and I decided if there's something interesting happening in the market, like I don't know, the Fed reducing rates or some major rate like decrease or something major, maybe I can send just like an individual email or something like that. But I'll just stick to my monthly newsletter, personal touches, Christmas cards. I always like to do something that's a little bit different. I want them to be beautiful, and there's a video message from me as well. I always add a QR code there, so that if I don't write them by hand, which I used to, then now they can at least have some personal message. So that's what I'm doing. Individual gifts, right? Like if somebody refers a client, or sometimes you've got those clients that always keep, referring you business, and I want them to know that I'm grateful. I'm taking one. She's never, well, she did business with me, but she's been such a fan. I'm taking her out to dinner here this week. So things like that. Just try to be personable, make people seen. I also send a magazine every 2 months. Again, something physical that people can get from me with my picture on it, right? So, uh, yeah, these are the touches that I do.
Nice. And there's three things that you mentioned there that I definitely want to reiterate because I think they're very powerful. And I also think this is where a lot of agents make mistakes in this industry is especially when it comes to social media. So the first thing I wanted to recap is you talked about when you're posting on social media, you're not just talking about personal stuff, but you're also not talking about just business as well too. Because real estate's very much a relationship oriented business. And if you're all real estate, then people are going to stop caring and they're going to unfollow you because you become too salesy, right? But then at the same time, if you're all personal, then you're not reminding people that you're in real estate, and then they don't know to contact you because they don't know you're a real estate agent. So I think it's definitely very powerful. What you do is you probably do talk a lot about a lot of personal stuff, but then you sprinkle in the real estate so that way no one forgets that you're a real estate agent. Because I can't tell you how many times I've seen agents make mistakes where it's all real estate. It's just like a flyer here, a flyer there, just sold,
Yeah.
under contract, stuff like that, that no one really cares about, but it's a relationship business. So they need to know who you are as a person. Then the other thing that I thought was very powerful, what you do as well, is you also interact with your people that are following you. It's not just like, hey, here's my post and they comment, and then, whatever, you do send personal messages, personal text messages, because kind of like you mentioned, now you get people into your algorithm, and then, you're also taking interest in their life, and, there's a great book out there. A lot of people probably read it, How to Win Friends to Influence People, but it's about being interested, not interesting. And I think that's extremely important as well, too. And the third thing I love what you said is I love that you send out newsletters and magazines because again, most people think when they think about like emails, sending out emails, they think, oh, I just need to send out like, salesy emails and stuff like that and drip campaigns. But it's all about providing value to the leads that are in your database as well too. And newsletters are very powerful because you're not asking for their business, but it's value of like, hey, this is what's going on in the community. So I definitely love that as well too. So now with that being said, one thing also I wanted to get into. So obviously you and me are both partners at EXP and at the Wolfpack, which is one of the fastest growing organizations within EXP. You talk about being licensed since 2006, so you've obviously seen a lot of things in this industry. So what made you decide when you originally decided to move over to EXP? What made you decide to move? I mean, I think you said it's been about 4 years now. So, what made you decide? And I think you mentioned before that your previous brokerage you were at for was 10 years. So, what? I mean, 10 years is a long time. So, what made you decide to make the jump when you did?
Yes, and that's a great question because I really thought that I was going to retire there. I really had no reasons to move. I did feel supported, and really, again, I had no reasons to move, but I did find I did find the Wolfpack online, and at that point, I got to see how modern the methods are, with social media, with video. And I just like the fact it just looked like, Wolfpack and EXP, that it's a very, again, it's a lots of modern way of doing business. And again, it's my sphere, right? Like if I don't do any post or anything, who would, it's fine if I keep the relationship going other ways, but still, just even honestly, Wolfpack, with all the courses that we have on video and on social media, I've really took my video from, doing spending 8 hours on a 5-minute video that was really my first one, to really learning to feel very comfortable in front of the camera, to do good videos with, with the iPhone. And it's just a lot of, posting. What do you do on social media with the platform that you choose to be on? So it's helped me, just stay, really look at different methods of prospecting and just be surrounded by people that are, dream big, go big, and do things better than me, because which is what I want. Because once you start being the top producer at your brokerage, and people, which is great, right? Like you love that recognition, but at the same time, I don't want to be the best. And I want to have people that are better than me, because then you can learn, you can grow, and of course you can help other people as well. But that was my main reason. I found a lot of people that were better than me, so
Yeah,
yeah.
it's I mean that's so true. I mean, honestly, my last brokerage, I was a top three team, and we moved, over to our new brokerage. It's like I can't even break the top 10 in Arizona because there's so many rock stars. So there's definitely a lot of people to learn from. But one of the things also I think that will surprise me more than anything else. From moving from my previous brokerage, EXP. My previous brokerage was a brick and mortar location. We had, a location in Scottsdale we can go to, office, stuff like that. But EXP is a cloud-based broker, so they don't typically have, a lot of brick and mortar locations. I mean, there are offices you can use and stuff like that, and there are some teams that have their own office locations, everything like that. But they don't. So what surprised me more than anything else by making this move was how much I felt that the community was stronger. Because being in a virtual world, you didn't think that you would be in the same type of community and see have the same type of connections, build the same type of relationships. Obviously, you and me met, which we typically wouldn't have. So there was it's a huge difference from even being in a brick and mortar location to finding the community we're in now. But I'm saying this because I wanted to allude to the fact that within Wolfpack and Mike Sherrard's organization, all that stuff, all of our agents have a lot of access to a lot of masterminds. But you host a mastermind, which I think is extremely powerful, that I want you to talk about. Is you host a women's only Wolfpack mastermind every single Wednesday. Obviously, I can't go to it. My wife does go to it though. She absolutely loves being there. So I don't know if you're the one that started it, but I do know you host a lot of it. Kind of take me through kind of what brought that about, and then how that's been going and what kind of impact that's had on women within the Wolfpack organization.
Oh, that's such a great question, and I'm glad you're bringing it up because I'm one of the hosts. You always need more people because then you have more resources, and if one of us is not available to be on the call that day, you have other ladies that can step in. But this is an amazing group because again, we as women have a lot in common. No guys there, nothing against guys, but it's a different space where it's a smaller group, and we're mothers, wives, women that are just about to, have be mothers for the first time, or you don't have to be a mother, right? But we're women, we have a lot in common, and it's a very safe space, very comfortable group where people can be vulnerable as well, because it's harder to get vulnerable in front of 200-300 people, right? But then in a smaller space, you get to learn, you get to know everyone, and you can share things that we can help each other with. And we always bring a powerful, a powerful woman, somebody who's mostly in real estate. We want to help people, you know get better in their business, but we also have brought topics such as self-care, right, which is very important, because you have to be well to be you have to be good to be able to help. You have to help yourself to be able to help other people. So it's again, it's a another avenue for getting business. Somebody who's done it, maybe, we've had presenters that have 3 kids. How are you such a top producer with 3 kids, when that require a lot of your time? And people tell you how, right? And it's just a lot of different ways to do business from somebody that is like you or in your same situation. We're several hosts. I'm not one of the original hosts, but we also have sometimes people, maybe cannot do it anymore, but there's always somebody that can step in, add fresh ideas, work on getting quality speakers to our call. So yeah, I love our group, and I think it's very unique, and it's helped a lot of people as well.
Yeah, I love it. And even like at East Beacon this year, I mean, you guys had a women's only brunch, which
Oh, that was such a hit.
you guys
Like,
had a lot of people there too. I saw the pictures. You guys had like four long tables, and my wife missed a lot of events that week, but the one event she wouldn't miss is the women's only
yes.
brunch.
It was so good. I think it was 40-50. The energy was through the roof. And yeah, it was great. Yes.
Awesome. Well, so if anyone's watching this and they want to see what a partnership with you and us over at the Wolfpack looks like, what's the best way for someone to get a hold of you to just kind of talk about what that might look like?
So honestly, just my name, I'm everywhere. Donica Parker. Like when you put Donica Parker, Donica with a K, like you can find me, and I'm on Instagram, on Facebook. Very easy to reach. My contact information is everywhere, and I do love. I have a group here in Atlanta, and I have some. Agents that are not in Atlanta, but I do love to help with video and social media, especially when if somebody has I know a lot of people have already developed relationships with their clients, and that's where they're getting business. But they may be shy about the camera, right? I love helping with that. I love helping with people with what to post, Instagram, Facebook. A lot of those questions that I myself have been through. It's always a work in progress. Like you can never be, so self-conceited, or you always have to grow. You always have to. There's always a better way of doing things. But I like to help those that maybe need some help with that. And of course with Sphere, all my strategies and tricks, because I know sometimes people think that oh, it's Sphere, it's and they don't, as you said, it's underused, because you're thinking of one person, but how many people does that person know, and how many people, more importantly, trust that person, their family, their friends. Sometimes people have a big circle of their sphere of influence. So I think it's not to underestimate. And again, I'm here for to help with all of that, even if just to cheer cheer someone up. If somebody wants to start running, I'm here for that too.
Nice. Nice. Awesome. Yeah. And I'll go ahead and put Donica's information and her links below if you do want to contact her. Also, I'm going to go ahead and put a calendar link below to schedule a Zoom meeting with me if you kind of want to see what a partnership with us looks like. Just make sure you please let me know that you saw us in this video, so that way, because with co-sponsorship and a lot of things, we can definitely both provide a lot of value to anyone that decides they want to join our organization. So don't hesitate to reach out to either one of us and connect and find out we can help. Our goal is just to provide as much value as possible and provide as much support and training and mentorship. So Donica, appreciate you hopping on. You hopefully provided a ton of value to all the people that were watching. And thanks for hopping on today.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Okay, awesome. All right, bye guys.